Yellowstone volcano is currently at a normal alert level. This means scientists are not seeing any unusual activity that would suggest an eruption is likely. Scientists constantly monitor Yellowstone using a variety of tools. These tools track earthquakes, ground movement, and the temperature and chemistry of water in the park. Yellowstone is a caldera volcano, which means it erupts infrequently but explosively. The last major eruption was about 630,000 years ago. Since then, there have been smaller eruptions of lava flows, the most recent of which was about 70,000 years ago. Yellowstone is a dynamic place, and small earthquakes and ground movements are common. These are a natural part of living with an active volcano. Scientists carefully track these changes to look for any patterns or anomalies that might indicate an increased risk of eruption. The data from these monitoring efforts are publicly available, and scientists regularly communicate their findings to the public. The USGS provides frequent updates and educational materials to keep everyone informed about the volcano's status. Yellowstone has experienced 3 major eruptions in its history. These eruptions were enormous, spreading ash across much of North America. The first occurred 2.1 million years ago, followed by another about 1.3 million years ago. The most recent major eruption, about 630,000 years ago, created the Yellowstone caldera, a massive crater over 30 miles wide. These eruptions were incredibly powerful, but it's important to remember that they are very rare. Since the last major eruption, there have been smaller eruptions of lava flows. These eruptions were much less powerful and did not produce significant ash clouds. The most recent lava flow occurred about 70,000 years ago. Understanding Yellowstone's eruptive history helps scientists put current activity into context. The long intervals between major eruptions, combined with the lack of significant activity in recent times, suggest that a major eruption is not imminent. Yellowstone experiences frequent earthquakes, but most are too small to be felt. These small earthquakes are a normal part of volcanic activity and don't necessarily indicate an impending eruption. Scientists use sensitive instruments to detect and locate even the smallest earthquakes. Ground deformation, or the rising and falling of the ground surface, is also common at Yellowstone. This is caused by the movement of magma and hydrothermal fluids beneath the surface. Scientists use GPS and satellite data to track these subtle changes. Recent monitoring data shows no significant changes in seismic or deformation activity. The level of activity is well within the normal range for Yellowstone. While there have been earthquake swarms, these are common and usually die down quickly. The hydrothermal features at Yellowstone, such as geysers and hot springs, are constantly changing. These changes are driven by the movement of hot water and steam beneath the surface, and are not necessarily related to volcanic activity. One common myth is that Yellowstone is overdue for an eruption. This is based on a misunderstanding of how volcanoes work. Volcanoes do not erupt on a predictable schedule. The intervals between eruptions can vary greatly. The idea that pressure is building up for a massive eruption is also misleading. Yellowstone's magma chamber is currently mostly solid, and there is no indication that enough molten magma is present to fuel a major eruption. Scientists use various techniques, including seismic imaging, to study Yellowstone's magma chamber. These studies show that the magma chamber is not currently in a state that would allow for a large-scale eruption. It's important to rely on scientific data and expert analysis when assessing Yellowstone's risk of eruption. Sensationalized claims and myths can be misleading and create unnecessary fear.